everyone, this is your favorite friend Jay or Jaylan Salah, as you formerly know her, film critic at Geek Nation and In Session Film. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing director Agniia Galdanova and producer Igor Myakotin of Queendom, empowering documentary about Russian-born queer performance artist Jenna Marvin, how through her art she defies rigid systems and homophobic, transphobic policies. I mean, I was blown away by this documentary. Thank you, first of all, so much for talking to me.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so what inspired you to track down this artist and make a movie about her?
Well, I don't know. When we met with Jenna, she was in the beginning of her way, and she just started to develop her unique style and start to kind of go away from the conventional drag scene and creating her own. So I was just amazed. I don't know, there was some spark between us because beside her art, there was a lot of things that struck me in her as a human being. And so I took my chance. I don't know. There was some kind of feeling here that I have to
Okay,
explore this deeper.
okay. And Igor, what did you feel that you decided to back up the project and produce it? Like, what drew you to this project? Because it seems like it has a lot of elements in it.
Exactly. That's why I decided to be a part of it because of Agnia's very strong creative vision for the film, because of Jenna's just incredible courage and artistic freedom that she exercises in such a repressive environment like in Russia. And also, Jenna and I, we both come from the same small town in the Russian Far East. So when Agniia and I met, she was already filming at that point, and she showed me some footage from the film, and I saw my hometown, and I just was really shocked to see this little town getting such a cinematic treatment that Agniia gave it, and also having Jenna from being from that town was just very inspiring. So it was very serendipitous and fateful, and we knew that we had to work together.
Definitely. So, okay, because you just described the cinematic experience. The opening shot is spectacular, all white, Jenna dressed in white, against the backdrop of snow. What inspired you to create such a mesmerizing scene, an amazing shot like that?
I mean, it's already been there, and the snow was there, and Jenna, Jenna just decided to dress in white, and her aunt, who is accompanying her there, also had a white coat. So everything kind of came together there, and we actually, in the moment, we didn't realize that much because outside on the street was like minus 37. We were more focused on like keeping Jenna alive because she was just in the stockings and and like high heels. And then when I saw the footage, I was like, wow, that's a coincidence that nobody in even like saw it in the beginning. So yeah.
Okay, so I believe that some of the more vulnerable moments for Jenna when she's not performing, when she's there sitting with the family and you could see her reality, like her real self. How did you as a director ensure, like the safety of the environment for her to be herself in both ways, as a performer, of course, but then she's giving us the performance that we love and it's exciting. But at the same time, there in the confinement and the safety of her house, maybe it's a little bit difficult to capture these moments. How did you as a director build this trust with your subject, with your actress, so that you bring out her reality, her vulnerability, her core?
Well, it's not easy, I have to say, especially when the relationship as you saw, sometimes can be like harsh talking, and it's just a matter of time. More time you spend around with people talking, not all the time filming, just like, comforting each other. And at some point, people, relax more. And with Jenna, I mean, we built up the real good trust in the first, let's say, I don't know, months, because we were hanging out a lot together, talking a lot, and kind of understood that we have a common ground. And when we went to see her grandparents, she told us that we have a, so to say, carte blanche that we can film in any moment. and grandparents in the beginning had to adjust, to this thing, to us being in the room. But there were different situations when for sure you don't feel comfortable being there with the camera. But, in the end, that's why we went there. And with grandparents, we also had to kind of earn the trust. We were, beside filming, we were gardening and picking berries and fishing and cleaning the dishes. So, we kind of like found our place there as well.
That's lovely. Okay, so Igor, you just mentioned that this is your small town. This is a small community. So what was the most difficult aspect about production? Like you're producing this film and it's really revolutionary. So what is the most difficult aspect about production in this community, and it's a tight-knit community? I can imagine being from a small town myself.
Well, it's very cold there. That's really number one. And it's the place has a really dark past of having labor camps, gulag camps used to be there. So even though that was years ago, that past is still lingering in the air. You can almost feel it and smell it. And people like myself who grew up there, we all know about it. It's not really talked about, but I think because the place is just so far away, it also produces, some people are just very become very like too patriotic in a way, right? Become a bit nationalist, a bit right wing in this place because sort of anything goes. And because of that dark history, this place is known to have this criminal past, and some of the people who might be there, even though some of those people were just artists who were just imprisoned during the Soviet Union because of their views. So it was really interesting and unexpected to see that someone like Jenna would come from this such a place. And I think because Jenna is younger than me, so I didn't grow up with, internet and TikTok, but she did. And I think that gave her encouragement and an outlet to really be who she really wants to be, even in that place. And yes, she walked the streets of Moscow and she was in the crowds and the protests, but I think what's really scary is to be who Jenna is and to shine her truth in place like Magadan. And she really did that, and this is where she really started. So I think Magadan for Jenna, especially, and for all of us, is a really special place. And I'm sure we won't forget where we come from.
Definitely. So Yulia, Jana's aunt, talked about the genetic memory and how sometimes it carries the bigotry and all the bad thoughts, all the judges, all the prejudice against, like change and being your true self. So how do you think your film will actually build a new genetic memory? Because I was hopeful. When I watched this film, I feel hopeful because yes, there is this genetic memory of dark past, of being just a bigot without even thinking or without opening your heart and inclusion. But then there is Jenna defying all that and existing, defying it and becoming herself. So how do you think the new narrative, I'm talking about Jenna and stories like Jenna, that will build a new genetic memory for the newer generations to be much more open, much more liberal?
Well, that's beautiful what you're saying, because that's exactly what we were aiming for. Because Jenna's story, which we also in the beginning could not understand, but now film traveled in so many places in the world, and I realized that it's so universal, on so many levels that we showed in the film. I had so many people coming to me, like in South Korea or in Greece, in Italy, saying that they have the same situation at home, and there is always this question of acceptance from your family. And I believe, and I hope I would like to believe that our film would bring this new pattern in the world of, to love each other and to accept each other, and to be tolerant to each other, and for younger generation to get inspired by Jenna's story, and to not hide yourself and to speak up for themselves, but also for elder generation to educate themselves and to to be more open-minded towards their younger members of family.
Definitely. Okay, so my final question to you is, there's always this moment when you as a director or as a producer, you watch it and you realize I'm making cinema, I'm making something magical. This exceeded my previous expectations. Which moment in the film that you felt that way, you and Igor?
Oh, I know for sure. Where is it? It's one of the performances where Jenna is on this kind of like Mars surface in a black horn mask.
Oh, I remember.
I was absolutely tripping there because when I saw this picture, it was the sun was going down. We didn't have a lot of time to film, and we were like rushing. But in the same time, when like the whole thing, what you see in the film, happened, I was just wow. I'm like really in some kind of like other world, and at that moment, I felt really, I don't know, thankful to my eye that I'm able to see this.
Okay, so
And to
Igor,
film.
yeah, definitely. I love this moment, by the way. So I totally agree with you. So Igor, what is your moment?
Well, I think that moment was when Agniia agreed to work together on this project. I think as a producer,
Okay.
you need to keep that momentum and that faith in the project and in the director and in the protagonist and in the whole crew going throughout the whole time. So you know, as a producer, this is my role is to make sure that yes, sometimes we don't know what's gonna happen ahead of us, but from the moment I saw like footage, from the moment I met Agniia, I knew that this is something very special and that it's gonna touch a lot of people's hearts. And then it's all about figuring out how to get to that point.
Definitely. And it touched my heart. I feel like her existence, Jenna, is an act of defiance and revolution in itself. And I'm so grateful to watch this film. So grateful to talk to you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.